All right, so welcome back to Her Tech Life, where we are talking to, at the moment, women who are working at NetSupport, and we're kind of shining a spotlight on their achievements and talking about their experiences working in a tech company. And so I've got Aurea with me today. Hi, Aurea. It's so lovely to see you.
Hi, Kat. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Doing well.
Good. It's lovely to have you on. So first up, do you mind just telling us a little bit about what your role is in NetSupport and what that kind of looks like on a day-to-day as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a regional account manager for the Northwest here in the U.S. Basically, that means I'm responsible for like new business as well as growth with an existing business, winning back, customers that have lapsed in terms of their license agreements.
Yeah.
So from a daily basis, between emails or phone calls, I'm reaching out, trying to see if I can help them in any way, meet their needs. That does oftentimes mean researching a company, finding out what their technology goals are for the year, their technology plans. That can vary depending on which industry I'm looking at, like the government.
Yeah.
They'll have that on their website sometimes. You have to dig and look for it, but it's there.
Yes.
Individual companies, not as easy to find what their plan or agenda is for the year.
That's
from
a good
technology.
point, actually. Yeah.
Side base. Schools, their mission, their ultimate goals are always going to be just improve the experience for the students and the teachers.
Yeah.
So with them, it's really a matter of researching what their budget might look like, who the best contact is. So that's how I spend my day, finding the best contact, trying to see if I can narrow down what their exact needs are or their mission points are, and then reaching out to see how we can be of service, letting them know which solutions actually can benefit them towards their goals.
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think it's good to highlight actually that there's quite a lot of research involved, because that's maybe something that people wouldn't really think about on the surface of your role. So I think it's nice to really kind of understand that that's an important part of it as well. Yeah, definitely. What about you outside of NetSupport?
As probably people know by now, in NetSupport, I'm an avid reader.
Yes.
So I have my yearly goals, my little TBR, to be read list, which is exponentially bigger than I could ever hope to get to. But I think half the fun is just collecting the titles for me.
I love it.
Love watching movies. I definitely go to the movie theaters about once a week.
That's cool.
My parents kind of raised us going to the movies, so that's still a thing. I've raised my daughter that way, so that's, if we're not out hiking with her dog or hanging out on the weekends, we're usually at a movie theater.
That's cool.
And then, hanging out with friends. I'm part of a trivia group. We play once a week.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Every once in a while, every year we do actually qualify for the local competition as well as the national. We never win at those.
Awesome. Wow. That's still something. That's really cool. I was just going to ask you, good at trivia, but I guess you've answered my question.
We enjoy it. I am. So there's everybody on the team pretty much covers a good topic. Like that's where their knowledge base. My knowledge base is probably the movies and literature. And luckily, I guess for them, that's everybody else's weak point. They've got the sports, they've got the history, they've got
You're covering a good niche there. I like it. Yeah.
And I'll pop in with that random literature, like, yes, I know that author. So
it probably helps if you're at the movie theater every week as well. You're probably quite up to date with films, so that's cool. Have you seen anything good recently?
I just watched The Bike Riders yesterday, which was really good.
Yeah.
Based off of a photo journalistic book from that time frame that was published. And then prior to that, I watched what was it? Little Dirty Letters, I believe it was. It's a British movie based off of a true story of a neighbor who was writing letters that were not that were condemnable for the time in terms of the language that was being used. You could be arrested, and she blamed her neighbor for those letters, and her neighbor did get arrested. So it tells that story and how it played out. I didn't realize going into it that it was actually based off of a real occurrence. So I found that very interesting.
That is really
it was a funny movie. So you never get a chance to watch it.
That sounds good. So how did you get into your role in NetSupport?
So I basically worked for a company who, at its core, its mission was to inspire children to a love of reading. Makes sense with my background in terms of my own love of reading. And then COVID happened, of course. And when COVID happened, it caused that company basically to lose over 90% of its revenue because its revenue required in-school sessions. So we were laid off with an indeterminate date as to when we could potentially be brought back. But during that time frame, NetSupport reached out to me. And I realized that for as much as I loved that mission, I was ready for a next step in terms of my career, something that was even more challenging. And NetSupport aligned perfectly because it allowed me to keep that core mission of wanting to impact children's lives and improve their potential future. But it was a different angle. So instead of inspiring the love of reading, it was more about giving the teachers the tools to re-engage those students in the classroom, to keep them from getting lost or going down a path. The temptation, of technology is to want to go to the different websites or play Minecraft. Minecraft is like the huge thing in the US for I don't know how many years. But, with our technology, we can actually give those teachers the tools to refocus them, keep them on track, but engage them back into the curriculum and what's being taught. And that was just a stepping stone to all of the other softwares, of course, because we work both corporate as well as education.
Yeah, of course.
And it just helped me broaden my mission beyond just necessarily reaching out to children, but being able to actually get the best tool in the hands of the person that needs it the most so that they can then reach their own goals and objectives. And that felt good to me. That felt like the right and next step.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting way to look at it. Had you had any kind of similar roles to this one before, or was this something that was completely new to you?
Similar to an extent, not necessarily software being the focus, but I've been an account manager pretty much most of my career. So I have always enjoyed and done as a career getting the right product into the person's hand.
And building those relationships.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I've always, as my own personal goal, has been to only work for the companies that I myself believe in the end product.
So that's important to you to have that ethos.
I have to believe in it if I'm going to try to sell it to you, right?
Yeah, no, I think that's really good.
I want, NetSupport was a very solid, good offering in terms of what they have. It meets the market needs, it's quality, it's more of the Cadillac versus the daily. And I absolutely thought it was a perfect fit. So I came on board and I've been here about 3.5 years now.
Okay. Yeah. That's going quick.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. No, that's great. And what has your experience been like working in a tech company?
So a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, in my past positions, I've always been that go-to person for some reason or another. When any new software has been introduced, everybody comes to me like, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm very quick to learn the shortcuts, the keyboard shortcuts, and I intuitively kind of get software.
Very handy. Yeah.
Without necessarily having studied or been an IT person, I do have an intuitive knack for it. So I've been that person. That being said, that was definitely a helpful trait to bring into it, but always a learning curve, because it's still something that I hadn't sold before, and there are technical aspects to it. So I did have to dive in deep to the solutions, practice with them, get to know that technical side and the technical vocabulary that I don't use on a daily basis. So there definitely was a learning curve. But that being said, I feel like it's a very black and white solution. So it either does what it's supposed to do or it doesn't. And what we have does what it's supposed to do. And it achieves those bullet points that many companies are looking for. So from that perspective, it was easy. So, it's a balance. You have to be adaptable. Technology is always changing. The software is getting updated. There's new features, new releases. So you have to stay on top of all of that. You have to stay on top of the pulse of the actual corporate need or educational need, because those can change, and they can change. Of course,
it changes what we need and how we prioritize our next steps and stuff as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you do have to be quite adaptable working within technology, because like I say, it's always changing. And it's always, whether it's the tech that's changing or whether it's customer needs that's changing, there's a lot that can impact it, isn't there? Yeah, absolutely. So what are your favorite aspects of your role?
Really, it's getting that right product into the right hand. It's finding out what their need is, helping them achieve that goal. I love hearing after they've trialed it, like, man, this is exactly what we didn't even know we wanted, or
Yeah.
exactly what we were looking for. It could be either or scenario.
Mm.
But the satisfaction of knowing that I've helped make them, whatever the goal might be, more efficiency, cost transparency, or data
Mm.
transparency, whatever that goal is, I've assisted them with getting it done. And
Mm.
I personally believe I put the best product out there that they could find into their hands. So I walk away with a self-satisfaction, even though it's like one of those minute points.
Yeah.
But on the grand scale of how this society works and integrates, I was a part
Mm.
of making it more efficient.
Yeah,
you
no,
know?
I think that's great. And also, it might sound small overall, but for that individual person or that school or that organization, it's a bigger impact, isn't it? So,
Yes.
yeah, no, I think that's really cool. So my last thing is just what would you suggest for someone who might be interested in having a role like yours?
Um, Honestly, I think it's knowing what your core mission is at the heart of it, knowing what you
Mm.
really want to achieve. Breaking that down into what the career path could be for you. So for me, it really was, as a stepping stone anyway, the educational side of it. But it was knowing that I wanted to impact and inspire future generations.
Mm.
And then when the software aspect of it came in, and I was like, oh, yes, they talked to me about NetSupport. This is the product. This is what they do. That perfectly aligns in a way that I didn't even imagine,
Mm.
with what I wanted to accomplish. So I think knowing first and foremost what you're willing to stand behind, and then finding the career that fits that, making sure that you've got whatever background you need, whether it's taking some individual courses or testing
Mm.
out the software or the role itself by
Mm.
practicing it with others, but getting the experience behind it, and then just going out and looking for that company and that role that fits your path, what you're looking
Mm.
for.
Brilliant. I think that's really good advice, Aurea. I think it makes a lot of sense as well to make sure it meets your mission and what you value, because we spend a lot of time at work. So like you say, if you really believe in that, then that's going to make a big impact on you day to day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And
Well,
it,
thank
with, I was going to say,
yeah.
just with all the courses out there and all the individual, you can go online, you can find something that teaches you this or teaches you that. Everything is at our fingertips now. So there
Yeah.
is no reason not to pursue that path, even if you don't have experience in it, because you
Yeah,
can go
definitely.
out and find the tools to help you.
Yeah, and if you're not sure, you can always reach out to people that are working in those industries and ask them, what helped them, what courses were useful, or what skills would they recommend too.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Aurea. It's been a pleasure to have
Oh,
you on.
sure.
Was there anything else that you wanted to share with everyone?
No, I've absolutely loved working with NetSupport. Like I said, I truly do believe in the product. And I absolutely love that we are just highlighting what technology can be for a person in their personal as well as their career path. So I'm
Absolutely.
very excited that you invited me to do this interview.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited that you wanted to join and weren't scared and ran away. So thank you.
Thank you, Kat.